So recording is really easy. I keep an Excel spreadsheet, so whenever I do something that I consider to be learning and development, I just input the data into the Excel spreadsheet and I keep a new one for every year, and that's pretty straightforward. In terms of evaluating, I think that what I do is on an ongoing basis, if I've been to a course, I'll reflect that week or the week after as to how I think the course went. Did I learn what I needed to learn? Are there still gaps that I need to cover? And if so, how am I going to fill those gaps? So evaluation is something that I usually do a little bit afterwards, just to make sure that I've met the aims that I set out to meet.
Okay, so the way that I go about recording and evaluating my learning and development activity, I suppose the first thing to say is, well, historically, like most solicitors, what I did was go to a CPD session and then come back, make a note of that session somewhere, count up the hours and keep a record of the CPD certificate so that I could then produce evidence of the requisite number of hours. I suppose the challenge now is to go a step beyond that in terms of recording and evaluation. For me, what I hope is that it's going to be a mixture of just doing what I do already, keeping my good habits whilst perhaps doing a few things a little bit differently perhaps. In terms of good habits, I like to think that I've always been reasonably good at forcing myself to carve out that sort of 5 minutes at the end of a learning and development activity to actually think about what that means for my practice. What are the action points, for example, that arise, so that I can then put them in my to-do list and do something about them. So I think it's really important to try and protect that 5, maybe 10 minutes, immediately after some learning and development activity to really kind of crystallize and capture the key takeaways from that. And I think it's important to understand that that is the essence of evaluation. It's that reflective process. It's evaluating what you're taking out of the session for your benefit, really. And in terms of how you record it, well, historically, what I would do is I would sort of capture those nuggets of learning onto my PC somewhere. More recently, I've moved over to an online tool that allows me to capture those nuggets, that evaluation, very much in real time on my phone, for example, and then plops it into a development record, which I can then refer back to as and when necessary in practice.